Trump is calling on Republicans to change the rules in the Senate to reopen the government. Trump posting overnight, it is now time for the Republicans to play their Trump card and go for what is called the nuclear option. Get rid of the filibuster and get rid of it now. The move would allow Republicans to pass a bill to fund the government with a simple majority instead of the 60 votes currently needed. But Senate Majority Leader John Thune has warned against this move, saying it could come back to bite Republicans whenever Democrats take power back. Meanwhile, millions of Americans fear their food assistance or SNAP benefits will run out tomorrow as the government shutdown drags on.
I've gone to social media to ask for help from everyone that I could possibly think of.
It now appears a federal judge hearing.
Plus News, I'm John Ab.
And I'm still looking at my bank account like, but why isn't it cutting it? Why isn't it enough?
I have to come to pantries, and sometimes I don't have, all the food that I needed, to provide for my family.
What would it mean for you and your family if you don't get that money in November?
For the recent viral conversation around food stamps and SNAP benefits, many credible news outlets have begun adding to the coverage, interviewing people who use government assistance amid programs being cut off due to the current government shutdown. CNN, who according to its mission wants to inform, engage, and empower the world and considers themselves as truth seekers and storytellers, is now being questioned if they are about telling the truth, or more so, how much of it do they tell. On Thursday, a video would be released across CNN's social pages of a black mom being interviewed about her struggles after not receiving her usual government assistance. The mother would even proceed to tell cameras that she felt like a failure despite having a college degree and working 40 hours a week.
Anita Norris is a single mom who works.
Veterans are preparing to turn to food banks when food stamps benefits run out. Billion families feeling it too. Our focus right now on where you are.
Hi, Harris. Well, first off, everyone loves payday, and thankfully military members woke up and they got paid today. But there is growing anxiety that could stop soon. The Armed Services YMCA is seeing a massive surge right now as many troops brace for the possibility of not getting paid. Lines stretch outside of a food pantry we visited in Killeen, Texas, right near Fort Hood, with soldiers, their families, and young children waiting for those doors to open. The CEO of the national nonprofit says demand at these pantries has jumped 30 to 70% since the government shutdown started. The biggest uptick right now is happening in areas where there's a lot of these junior enlisted service members. Many of them live paycheck to paycheck.
Many folks are deployed right now overseas from Fort Hood or from other locations. And the last thing you want to have when you're deployed overseas is be worrying about the next paycheck and how do you take care of your family who are back wherever they live in the U.S.
The CEO says the majority of service members are motivated to serve their country and make a difference, not by money. In fact, many families are struggling already. Check this out. The starting base salary for an entry-level soldier is just over $25,000, and a 6-year staff sergeant makes less than $50,000, not including bonuses and other benefits. Well, the Trump administration tapped into different funding streams to make sure that all troops got paid today. But there is uncertainty about how long that's going to last, and Republicans are blaming Democrats.
Historic lows. The middle has collapsed. This threat to say the other political 2/3 of Americans now say the other political party is not just wrong, but a serious threat to say the 2/3 of Americans now say the other political party is not just wrong, but a serious threat to the United States itself. Trust in the government has collapsed to just 22%, which is near historic lows. The middle class, the glue that holds this country together, has been absolutely hollowed out. Housing is now at its least affordable point in 30 years, locking young Americans out of the only asset they intuitively understand. And when people are shut out, resentment festers, which is why 62% of Americans under 30 now say they have a positive view of one of history's most murderous economic systems, socialism. Worse than that, these aren't random cracks in civilization. They're the same fault lines that show up again and again.
The biggest thing is inflation. The second biggest thing is energy. Energy is way down, and what's also down? Gasoline. Also, The biggest thing is inflation, and it's way down. The reason I don't want to talk about affordability is because everybody knows that it's far less expensive under Trump than it was under sleepy Joe Biden. And the prices are way down.
Pretty angry there. Here's the issue. For the Financial Times, Ed Luce, and Arkansas soybean farmer Scott Brown. Scott, the hits just keep on coming. I'll come to you in that in a moment. But Ed, first off, explain why Argentina is in need of this bailout.
Well, President Milei has imposed. Remember, Argentina is the most bankrupted country in history. It's defaulted 9 times on its sovereign debt. So this isn't a new story for Argentina. President...
Slow rewind here on Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, The War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman. In a barely noticed development last week, the Army stationed an active unit inside the United States. The Infantry Division's 1st Brigade team is back from Iraq, now training for domestic operations under the control of U.S. Army North, the Army service component of Northern Command. The unit will serve as an on-call federal response for large-scale emergencies and disasters. It's being called the Consequence Management Response Force, CCMRF, or CSMRF for short. It's the first time an active unit has been given a dedicated assignment to U.S. Northcom, which was itself formed in October 2002 to, quote, provide command and control of Department of Defense, Homeland Defense efforts. An initial news report in the Army Times newspaper last month noted, in addition to emergency response, the force, quote, may be called upon to help with civil unrest and crowd control. The Army Times has since appended a clarification. In a September 30th press release from the Northern Command states, quote, this response force will not be called upon to help with law enforcement, civil disturbance, or crowd control. When Democracy Now! Spoke to Air Force Lieutenant Colonel Jamie Goodpaster, a public affairs officer for Northcom, she said the force would have weapons stored in containers on site as well as access to tanks, but the decision to use weapons would be made at a far higher level, perhaps by Secretary of Defense, SecDef. Well, I'm joined now by 2 guests. Army Colonel Michael Boatner is Future Operations Division Chief of U.S. Northcom. He joins me on the phone from Colorado Springs. We're also joined from Madison, Wisconsin by journalist and editor of the Progressive magazine, Matthew Rothschild. We welcome you both to Democracy Now! Why don't we begin with...
Got the Rothschilds in there. Oh, okay. And this is 13 years ago. Training for civil unrest 13 years ago. And got Rothschild, Matthew Rothschild. Yeah, they've been planning this stuff for years ago.
Chaotic scenes as residents confronted and protested those agents. Video shows agents pointing weapons at people. At one point, a large presence of Chicago police arrived and worked to disperse the crowd. 25th Ward Alderman Byron Sigcho Lopez says multiple people were detained throughout the day, including a father near 23rd and Sawyer, where he says agents smashed windows and dragged the man out of a car while his 11-year-old son was in the vehicle. Sigcho Lopez says the actions of Border Patrol agents, led by CBP Commander at Large Gregory Pavino, is putting the community in danger.
Commander Bovino is in contempt of the George orders, and when he comes to court, look, hey, watch out with that weapon! That weapon! Yo, watch out! What's wrong with you? You hit it! You hit her! Yo! What's wrong? You hit her! You hit her! You guys hit her! You guys hit her! What's wrong with y'all? Y'all hit her? Y'all bust a whole U-turn in the middle of the street! Y'all hit her! Y'all on camera! Leave her alone!
ICE agents who remain unwelcomed in the great city of Chicago crashed their car into Diane Figueroa's vehicle, then violently pulled her out and detained her for hours.
Why? 5-alarm fire for Donald Trump and Republicans. The Republicans' high-cost House is on fire, and they've only got themselves to blame. as loudly and clearly as they could have. The American people said last night, enough is enough. Enough with Donald Trump's tariffs, which are overwhelmingly being paid for by working people and small businesses. Enough with Republicans' relentless attack on health care, where people are seeing their premiums go up by thousands of dollars, even each month, and they may have to be without health care altogether. Last night was a...
See, a lot of people think that this stuff is going to keep going on. People think America just is going to be healed. America's done, man. It's going down the drain. The only people want to talk about is it being saved. And some people are just in denial, man. They know that this place is falling, man. Jamaica just had a bad storm. You got people coming back from Jamaica back into the United States. The Venezuela stuff is still going on. Y'all just looking, for this stuff to just go away. It's not going to go away, man. It's not. It's not going to go away. We got stuff right here that's 14 hours old, man. Basically yesterday. And this one, it says Trump to launch missiles attack on Venezuela when 4 carriers arrive. You see? You got Russia did something utterly. You got stuff with that going on. And I showed the connection with that Venezuela is connected with Russia. And people didn't want to really listen to that. This stuff is not going to stop. It's not. It's not going to stop. It's going to keep going and keep going. We just wait. Everybody just waiting for someone to make that move. Everybody waiting. See? This is 1 day ago. Russia moves missiles land in Venezuela. What does it say? America's backyard. No longer safe. See that? They got them in there. This is not a game. When it says in the Bible, you hear rumors about wars. Kingdoms against kingdoms. We're at that time. We're at that time. We're at that time, man. It's just a matter of time of when it happens. You got stuff going on with Zelensky, U.S., Europe, Russia. We got all that stuff going. You got all that stuff going. See, I'm trying to go back in time to show that this stuff with Venezuela and Russia been going on for a while. See, and this is where it's at. See? Russia. 2 Russian bombers arrived to Venezuela. See, this is this is 6 years ago. 6 years ago.
should see this for what it is. It's the Real News Network. I'm Sharmini Pires coming to you from Baltimore. 2 Russian bombers landed in Venezuela on Monday, provoking a strong rebuke from the U.S. State Department. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo reacted by tweeting, Russia's government has sent bombers halfway around the world to Venezuela. The Russian and Venezuelan people should see this for what it is, 2 corrupt governments squandering public funds and squelching liberty and freedom while their people suffer, he wrote. Meanwhile, also on Monday, Venezuelan President Maduro accused the White House and National Security Advisor John Bolton in particular of being behind the failed assassination attempt against Maduro last August.
Today I come out once again to denounce the plot set forth by the White House to destroy Venezuela's democracy, to assassinate me, and to impose a dictatorship in Venezuela. Mr. John Bolton has been assigned once again as the chief of a plot to fill Venezuela with violence and to seek a foreign military intervention, a coup.
Then there was President Trump's threats against Venezuela.
We have many options for Venezuela. And by the way, I'm not going to rule out a military option. We have many options for Venezuela, and the people are suffering, and they're dying. We have many options for Venezuela, including a possible military option if necessary.
Tensions between Venezuela and the United States seem to be intensifying as Venezuela's economy continues to reel under the pressure of U.S. financial sanctions. The State Department has also
Build a website you love. Says 2 of the country's nuclear-capable strategic bombers landed in Venezuela on Monday. The move comes in the middle of rising tension between Russia and the United States. The pair of Tu-160 bombers reportedly landed at Maiquetía Airport on Monday following a more than 6,000-mile flight. Russia's defense ministry didn't say whether or not the bombers were carrying weapons, nor did they provide details on how long the aircraft will stay in Venezuela. The warplane, codenamed Blackjack by NATO, is reportedly capable of carrying conventional or nuclear-tipped cruise missiles. It is also capable of flying twice the speed of sound. Russia's move comes less than 1 week after Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro touched down in Moscow for a 3-day visit. Recent sanctions by the United States and the European Union accuse Maduro of undermining democracy to hold on to his power. Russia is an ally of Venezuela.
You heard it. Russia is an ally of Venezuela. This happened during Trump's first term. His first term. This happened then, during his first term. See, they're an ally. This is why Trump is going after Venezuela. Because he's trying to cut the blood. You can't fly no jet unless you ain't got some type of gas. Gas, jet fuel, all that comes from oil. It's just refined different. Diesel, all that stuff. And you make plastic from it too. It's a lot of stuff that's made out of plastic. Toys, pipes, rubber hoses. They need that. And now you got China. You got that going on. But Venezuela. So these are all the top allies, as you can see, of Venezuela. It's playing right here. These are all the allies. And this video is 3 years old. These are all the allies. Even Turkey. This is why he's not going to back down from the United States. And now Russia and China and India, they're allies with each other. They're not playing. They're not going to let you. Venezuela is the biggest oil reserves on the planet. And you think the United States is going to just take that? They're not going for that. Look, if you look at it, if it comes to rush to arms, even if all of South America will go against North America, they will. They will. Iran too. And Russia just gave some more nukes to Iran. They're not playing. They are not playing, man. This thing is about to go down. Russia, see? They're allies with Venezuela. They're not going down. And China. This is, see, when they talk about World War III, yeah, this thing is about to get ugly. It's about to get ugly.
America, Russia's alliances might not be as prominent, but it still has some very important allies. In North and South America, Venezuela and Cuba stand out as significant partners of Russia. In Europe, Belarus shares such a strong bond with Russia that their relationship has become an example. Transnistria even wants to become part of Russia. In the Middle East, Iran is a close ally of Russia, particularly in terms of military cooperation. In Asia, North Korea, China, and India maintain strong relations with Russia. In Africa, Mali, Libya, Sudan, Burkina Faso, and the Central African Republic are key allies of Russia. This is how Russia's alliances look on the world map.
See?
Who are Russia's biggest allies? Compared to America, Russia's alliances might not be as prominent, but it still has some very important allies.
Now they got Burkina Faso and some places in Africa that are allies with Russia. That's why Trump wants to go over to Nigeria. That's why he wants to get over there. He said he wants to stop those Muslims for what they're doing. Nah, it ain't about that. Because he's looking at, he needs another jump off spot. And he's like, if we could jump off from here. Let's look at Slovakia. Let's look at America allies. So, this is the American allies. If you really look at it, America really ain't got nobody. America is really pretty much screwed. They really don't have anybody that's messing with them too tough. This is 5 months ago.
Time to help people customize. Having great friends isn't just a social bonus. It's a necessity. The United States doesn't just roll solo on the global stage. It teams up with some of the strongest and smartest partners around. These alliances aren't just about handshakes and photo ops. They're about shared values, military muscle, and keeping the world safe, and sometimes weirdly entertaining. So, who are America's top 5 allies in 2025? Let's meet the squad, ranked from 5 to 1. Number 5, France, the pain train partner. France might get a reputation for diplomacy with a dash of drama, but don't underestimate its military clout. With a modern army and global reach, France is a heavyweight ally. They're firm partners in NATO and tough on sanctions against adversaries like Russia. When France teams up with the US, they form what some call the pain train, a force ready to roll over threats to democracy and freedom. In 2025, France's alignment with US goals keeps it firmly in the top tier of allies. Number 4, Germany, Europe's strategic anchor. As Europe's largest economy and a NATO cornerstone, Germany is an indispensable ally for the U.S. in 2025. With increased defense spending, advanced tech development, and a leading role in European diplomacy, Germany is a stabilizing force in the Indo-Pacific region. Japan's cutting-edge technology and powerful navy are vital to keeping the Pacific balanced, especially as China makes waves. Hosting U.S. military bases and sharing democratic values, Japan is a linchpin in regional security. Some experts say Japan's importance in 2025 might even be a neighbor who always has your back. Canada might be famous for maple syrup and polite apologies, but don't let that fool you. They're serious when it counts. Sharing the longest undefended border in the world, the U.S. and Canada are practically family. From economic trade, Canada is America's top trading partner, to joint defense via NORAD, these two are inseparable. When Spain threw shade over fishing rights, the U.S. quickly reminded everyone, work makes the dream work, and the U.S. is lucky to have these friends by its side.
United States really ain't got nobody. They ain't got nobody. They got France, Germany. That's probably in Japan and South Korea or North Korea, whatever, which one it is. They really ain't got no one like that. They don't have no one like that. Russia got India, China. What is it? North Korea. Iraq. I mean, these are people that got big armies, hitters. Man, America's through, man. That's why we gotta keep everything straight with Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. Lean upon Him and do what we're supposed to. I want to give all praise to Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, Bashem Kakadash. The honor to the elders, apostles, and bishops, that great millstone that teaches the truth, who rule well, who labor night and day. Shalom to the speckled bird. Shalom to the hopeful elect, the 144,000 and 1/3. Shalom to the Akim and to the Aqua. Shalom.